Let's bring you some breaking news that has come to us in the last minute or so from Buckingham Palace. His Majesty the King has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew.
Inside Buckingham Palace, staff often talked about the Queen's son. They didn't refer to the charming Duke loved by the cameras or the naval hero celebrated by Britain. Instead, they whispered about a man they described as cruel, childish and unstable. For many years, silence protected him, created by royal privilege and media control. But that silence eventually broke. A former maid revealed the truth about life in Prince Andrew's household. She shared stories of tantrums, strange rituals, and humiliations.
Prince Andrew. Buckingham Palace also confirmed that Andrew will also have to move out of his mansion on the Windsor estate.
This is Charlotte Briggs' story, the truth about Prince Andrew's behavior and its impact on his reputation and the monarchy. Charlotte's call to the palace. Charlotte Briggs was only 21 when she got a phone call that changed everything. She had been working in housekeeping jobs, struggling to make ends meet, when she received an offer to work at Buckingham Palace. This wasn't just a job for her and many Brits who grew up admiring the royals. It felt like fate, a chance to be part of history and serve the crown. Imagine telling your family and friends about it. Their excitement and cheers would be overwhelming. Working at the palace was more than just a paycheck. It was a place filled with history, where loyalty mattered, and the work felt essential. Charlotte imagined herself walking through the grand halls and possibly seeing the Queen, experiencing history firsthand. However, reality hit hard when she arrived. Her job was not what she expected. She didn't get an easy role, polishing silver or supporting an elderly royal. Instead, she finds out she is assigned to Prince Andrew, the Queen's second son, who is known for being difficult to work with. Staff conversations often described him as moody and demanding. It seemed like a job no one wanted. The fairy tale dream quickly faded, replaced by the stress of her new position. Charlotte's days were tense, filled with strict orders and long checklists. She learned that working for a royal was not always about serving someone kind. Sometimes it meant facing entitlement and demands that felt unfair. Sharing her experiences was risky. It wasn't just a housekeeper complaining about a demanding boss. It revealed what royal life truly looked like behind closed doors. If the Queen's son treated staff poorly, what would that say about the entire system supporting him? The first tantrum, curtains and fury. Charlotte quickly learned that Prince Andrew was not the noble royal everyone believed him to be. It started with something simple, curtains. One morning she was closing them and thought it looked fine, but to him it was a huge problem. He stormed in, shouting because a small sliver of sunlight showed through. He yelled as if she had committed a serious crime, his face turning red and veins popping. Poor Charlotte, just 21 years old, froze with trembling hands and stinging eyes that she didn't want to let tear up. This wasn't just a mild scolding, but a full-on rage that felt endless. The other staff members peeking out from the hall knew this was typical. They were used to Andrew's outbursts, which felt like random landmines you had to avoid. From then on, serving him changed completely. It became a stressful game of not making mistakes. The most minor error, a book placed wrongly, shoes shined but not to his standards, or a voice that sounded too flat saying, "Yes, sir," could spark an explosion. He saw these things as personal attacks against his status and would react angrily. Around the palace, staff members moved like ghosts when he was around. They walked carefully, barely making a sound, trying to adjust their day to avoid his bad moods. They whispered warnings. "Watch out, he's in a bad mood. Stay away." Andrew didn't want help. He wanted everyone to be afraid and show he was in charge. Daily rituals of fear and control. Andrew's behavior was concerning. His outbursts were just the beginning. After that, it felt like you were stuck in a strange situation, unsure if you were dealing with an adult or a child throwing a tantrum. His rooms weren't just places to sleep. They were his personal domains, meticulously arranged to the smallest detail. In the center stood his collection of 72 stuffed animals, including teddy bears and hippos, each placed exactly where he wanted them. It was absurd for Charlotte and the team, but refusing to comply wasn't an option. They handed out laminated sheets with detailed instructions, which stuffed animal hugs, which pillow, facing a specific direction, without any freedom to adjust. They practiced for hours, sometimes half a day, until they could do it without looking. If they made even one mistake, they faced his explosive reaction. It went beyond just stuffed animals. He expected his pajamas to be folded in a specific way, and his bed made to strict standards. Making the bed was less about comfort and more like a military drill, with pillows arranged according to rules only he understood. Charlotte later described it as caring for a child who never learned to grow up. Other staff members recounted strikingly similar experiences that vividly depicted his demanding nature. They shared anecdotes of him making absurd requests, such as asking for a remote control within arm's reach, or requesting a book that he could have easily grabbed himself. The consensus among the staff was clear. These actions weren't mere instances of laziness, but rather a calculated power play to assert dominance over those around him. One housekeeper described a scene where she stood motionless as he dressed, not because he needed assistance, but because he craved the spotlight and validation during his mundane morning routine. Another staff member recalled an unsettling incident when she was roused in the middle of the night, urgently summoned for a glass of water, with the expectation that she would appear instantaneously without a hint of complaint. There was a striking unanimity in the team's sentiments. He treated us poorly, like disposable tools to be used at his convenience and discarded whenever we crossed him. His disrespectful behavior was not sporadic. It indicated a profound arrogance stemming from years of being indulged and catered to. He didn't just possess peculiarities, he surrounded himself with individuals who had come to accept and even normalize his cruel behavior as part of the everyday landscape. The toxic environment he fostered left little room for dignity or respect among those who served him. Digging deeper, where it all started. Andrew's behavior was not merely a passing phase typical of a late bloomer. It was rooted in profound issues within his personality observed by those around him since childhood, well before Charlotte arrived at the workplace. Longtime staff members recounted unsettling anecdotes that painted a vivid picture of Andrew's mean streak, which made many uncomfortable in his presence. They recalled instances where he mercilessly teased the guards, leveraging his position to undermine their authority. He would frighten pets for amusement, often chasing after them with glee at their terrified reactions. His penchant for cruelty even extended to his own family, particularly as he bullied his younger brother Edward, sometimes to tears. This behavior earned him derisive nicknames such as Baby Grumbler, reflecting his incessant whining and complaints, and the Snigger, a moniker highlighting the malicious laughter he would emit when witnessing others in distress. Andrew's demeanor radiated a troubling sense of superiority, which he wore as a badge of honor, flaunting it for all to see. Although he faced occasional repercussions for his actions, such as being unceremoniously shoved into a manure pile by an exasperated groomer, or receiving a punch from a footman tired of his antics, such instances were few and far between. This lack of consistent consequences only seemed to reinforce his misguided belief in invincibility, further alienating him from those around him. Even the Queen, who consistently positioned herself as a defender of her son, ultimately acknowledged the pressing necessity for stricter guidance in his conduct. This admission was emblematic of a growing concern within the royal family regarding Andrew's behavior. Despite this recognition, a cloud of silence enveloped the palace staff, many of whom felt an unwavering sense of duty and an overwhelming fear of job loss. As Andrew advanced in age, his tendencies toward bullying evolved into a more insidious form of controlling behavior, characterized by an increasingly sharp and frigid sense of entitlement that seemed to deepen with time. The palace employed a robust strategy for years to obscure any negative narratives surrounding Andrew. Journalists seeking to uncover the truth were met with resistance or outright dismissal, while loyal staff members were bound by non-disclosure agreements, reinforcing their silence. Any attempt to discuss Andrew's troubling behavior would fundamentally challenge the meticulously crafted image of the monarchy, and only a handful possessed the courage to confront this reality. However, the efficacy of hush money is limited, and as time passed, the facade began to crumble. Whispers initially surfaced through gossip-laden tabloids, but they soon became poignant confessions from individuals who could no longer remain voiceless. With each new revelation, the carefully curated fairy tale image of the prince dissolved further, exposing a man who had spent years evading the necessary self-reflection that could have fostered genuine growth and accountability. Charlotte's testimony, shattering the illusion. When Charlotte Briggs finally chose to break her silence, she transformed from a mere whistleblower into a pivotal figure, igniting a powerful movement of voices that unearthed the hidden truths long buried within the royal palace's gilded walls. Her revelations shattered the carefully curated image of Prince Andrew, dismantling the narrative that had painted him as a charming yet eccentric royal. Instead, he emerged in a stark new light, a portrait of toxicity, where his previously charming facade crumbled to unveil a deeply ingrained ego and a troubling propensity for cruelty. For many, Charlotte's perspective served as a moment of profound clarity, correlating past events that had seemed disjointed and perplexing. Her words provided crucial context for the subsequent disasters: the harrowing Epstein scandal, the excruciating BBC interview during which he displayed alarming detachment and a glaring lack of remorse, the dramatic stripping of his royal titles, and his eventual retreat from the public eye. To outsiders, these events appeared as a rapid and shocking downfall. Still, for those who had endured the daily turmoil of his whims, including Charlotte, the collapse was both anticipated and inevitable, a long overdue reckoning for years of unchecked behavior that had spiraled out of control. Charlotte's courageous revelations triggered a domino effect throughout the royal family's facade. She didn't merely recount Andrew's infamous outbursts and his often disingenuous public persona. She delved deeper to expose the unsettling realities festering within the royal institution itself, a polished exterior that concealed the same messy human flaws that afflict us all, amplified by relentless public scrutiny, and long ignored by those who held the keys to power. While the world viewed Andrew as the Queen's treasured son, the truth for those who catered to his every caprice painted a starkly different picture. Their accounts raise an unsettling question. If he treated those closest to him with such disdain, what terrors lie within a system that allowed such abhorrent behavior to go unmonitored and unchecked for decades? The palace's ironclad hush. What do you think? Is it just one bad apple in the royal family, or is something bigger wrong at Buckingham Palace? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your opinion makes this discussion interesting. When you're ready for another story that might change how you see the royal family, check out the following video. The real issue is not just Andrew's problems. The silence worsens things. For years, staff kept quiet, afraid that even a slight hint of what was happening could cost them their jobs, damage their reputations, or hurt their families. Talking about royal scandals could lead to immediate dismissal. The palace feels less like a workplace and more like a locked vault. Staff have strict loyalty oaths and confidentiality agreements, and there's a long-standing rule to keep things sweet and not speak out. When Charlotte finally opened up, she revealed that many staff members were not happy with the fairy tale image of the royals. Behind closed doors, they faced rude treatment and strange routines, all to maintain the public's belief in the royal fairy tale. Her bravery to go public was not out of bitterness. It was driven by a desire to tell the true story that was being hidden. She wasn't alone. More former staff members started to share their stories, showing how fragile the royal institution was. Myths versus reality. Each new tale weakens the royal facade, reminding us that any powerful position relies on the quiet voices that support it. In the end, Andrew's downfall is not just about his mistakes. It reflects poorly on the monarchy. It makes you think, if the Queen's favorite could act without limits for so long, what other secrets are hidden in the palace? If the silence once protected him, how many more untold stories are waiting to be told?